Hello, everybody. Welcome to Friday Night Gist with Anu and Dami. If this is the first time joining us, welcome. If you've never heard of us, where have you been? Um, this is a relaxing, conversational time out, hangout with y'all, each and every one of you that listen to us. If you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram and you're looking for these two beautiful ladies, come right to our YouTube channel right here, Ano and Dami, and you will have an awesome time. Today we're going to be talking about something very interesting. Dami and I are going to be sharing. Yeah, I think we did a poll that what did you want us to talk about in the next couple of weeks, and they said they want us to do story time. And story time is always a very very interesting time. So today we're going to be talking about culture shock, and yeah. So please, for people that don't know the meaning of culture shock, let me give you the dictionary meaning. While Dami is putting us up on Instagram, I believe. Oh God, we were just asking each other how our week was though. Like, guys, my week
You know what?
was
Let's wait a little for people to tune in. So please share. Share with all your friends, your frenemies, your enemies. Tell them that we're
live on
live.
Instagram.
Not yet. We're about to. They were live. So call everybody. Let them know that we're up. We're up. And let's get this juice
Oh,
going. We have
yes,
plenty of juice today. So
guys. I know that you're ready for us, and we are also ready for you. Oh my.
So just doing a bit of sharing. Anyways, let's even start with how was your week, Steph? Like
Mm.
with everything that is going on
To be
in the
very
world.
sincere, I knew that they would not finish counting on Wednesday. But you know us now as a Nigerian, I'm like, let me give them the hi guys, hello, welcome everyone. I'm like, oh, let me see. Oh, and they kept counting and they kept counting. And
I
someone
think
called
now
me,
you're overdoing
hey,
it.
Trump is leading, no. And I'm like, okay. And then it was 8-3. So people were already like pumped that Trump, Trump, Trump. Okay. Then I was there till like 1 o'clock in the morning. Then I went to sleep. I go back again. And now Biden was leading. And I'm like, okay, let's wait now. And now the poll is they're still on it. So let's hope that God's will is done. That's the only anchor
You
that
know,
we
I,
have.
I think that's the most important thing
Yeah.
because if anything, and this whole poll has been so divisive, I'm over it. You know, somebody from my high school, right from high school, I've always been interested in politics anywhere in the world. And I'm always one of those people that was always reading newspaper and everything. So someone from my high school was like, excuse me, that means you're not saying this election, you didn't say much. And to be honest, for many reasons. I think that the more I'm maturing, the more I'm realizing that um to be quiet about certain things. And the reason why is that first of all, most Christians seem to believe that Trump is the will of God for America. I don't get it. I don't agree with it and I don't understand it. And because I don't understand it, I will not speak. I won't say so. It's not, I'm not for him because I don't understand how, um, you know, I don't understand how God would like would how God would want such a person to lead. I don't understand how he can possibly be God's will. I know they talk about policies and the policies that he would do, but isn't that the same thing as the Pharisees saying that they expected Jesus to be like them, like about the law? So it's I mean, so as much as possible, I tried. There are many times. Yesterday, I was dying of a laugh. I was like rolling on the floor, you know, because I'm sure you've seen the prayer that went around. Not because again, I don't play with people's prayers, because I mean, but the fact that
Angelic
angel from
intervention.
Africa is that not
Angelic
biblical?
intervention. Mm.
That's not biblical. That's all I'm going to say. That there's nowhere you
Angel
can't.
from
You,
South America. I'm like, why is it all the countries that he doesn't like that the angels are coming from?
the ones that need visa.
Why is it
And
the ones that he called losers, he called criminals, he called rapists? They're
and
the
you know
ones is their angel that should come.
and you know what?
Ah,
You know the
Holy
thing
Ghost
about it is
fire.
that it just even shows like generally how Americans think. Like,
I don't know.
the fact
I
that
don't know.
even in the spirit, there's white privilege.
Ah,
I mean, NSAS, where we literally were begging you people for attention.
no,
Congo,
they
they are
said
begging for attention.
y'all are not the priority. And I told y'all the other
But
day.
why do they need our angels? Our angels are overworked. They're asking God for a
You know
break.
something. You know what happened?
Mhm.
So Shegun Prime said something. Shout out to Shegun Prime, right? And Shegun Prime said that you want African angel. African angel will come late. And that if they want African angel will say, Alpha Mama, anything for you. And I just looked at it and I'm like, it's just sad how we've politicized the word. It is well. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to go about it. I think that it is unfortunate that we have a lot of people that don't understand. I feel like they don't understand the scripture. That's why
Yeah, because
they
I was like, the only thing, because I don't, and I know that sometimes when you pray from a place of fear, certain things happen, like, when you pray from a place of fear, certain things actually happen, right? So I get it. I was telling Shay a while back, I was telling my friend a while back that during the NSAS, the day, the Bloody Tuesday or the NSAS day,
yeah.
and I got a call, asking for help to help share and all that kind of stuff. And then once I was seeing what was going on, Pastor Isi was live, and I've never prayed. I'm surprised that my neighbors they didn't call cops on us. I've never prayed so much in my life. I was literally just like speaking in tongues with so much anger, right? But in my head, what was going on in my head was like, okay, reinforcements, angels, we're on assignment now. Let's go. Like, we are coming in full force. Like this way, they tried. No, no, no. Like it was for me. So I understand why and it's one of the reasons why I would not make fun of her or make jest of the situation, because I know that sometimes when you pray from a place of fear, you tend to say nonsense that is not biblical. Because I mean, the only place that angels are coming from are from the heavenlies. Definitely. And I say heavenlies because demons are also angels, right? So you can't dispatch angels from Africa. You cannot dispatch angels from Congo or um, Central America. It doesn't just work that way. So yeah. So that was the thing
I,
for
I
me.
I just didn't see any sense in it, and I'm like, okay, no problem. Since we are deploying angels from different planets now, it is all well and good.
Yeah, but I really hope that, like, I think America needs to chill though. Like, so much. Like they need to chill. So much is just going on that I just feel like, how did we even survive this 2020? Like, from one thing to the other. It's about time that you know. But yeah. Anyways, so yeah, do we have more people on now? I'm still trying to get live on Instagram. But yeah, so that feels like all that has been happening in the world. Because of course, once our once if when America sneezes like this, it affects the whole world. So I guess that's why, like, the whole world is interested. But it's about time they should, like, let us know what's going on so that we can move on with the rest of our lives. There's so many things going on in the world, and this is just getting the attention of, you know, everyone, so yeah, but it's definitely not biblical. I mean, I do have my reservations about um Pastor Paula, what's her name, Paula White. Um, but I just know that it was obviously from a place of fear, and you know, yeah,
He says, well, she'll be all right at the end of the day.
should be all right. Last, so should be all right. Should be all right.
Oh, so I wanted to call our attention on something I saw online today, and I feel like it's probably a topic for like another day where we're
Mm-hmm,
gonna discuss it at length.
mm-hmm,
And it is when a believer errs, like when the believer falls or falls into sin,
mm-hmm,
and the backlash the believer gets, like
mm-hmm,
whether the person is a music minister or a pastor of a church or whichever one it is, right? The backlash they get based on the fact that didn't you know better? Couldn't you have done better? Da 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 da. All that. And the other side to it for me is, so when the believer falls or the pastor falls or the music minister falls, why is it that the unbeliever out there will say, "Ugh, this person is human first. Let's just hope that this person survives it." But when it comes to us, the Christian, we are the first to condemn the person, talk about the person, look at the nitty gritty of everything that happens to the person. And I'm talking in reference to the Hillsong pastor that publicly confessed, just like how Israel did, I think
mm-hmm,
6 years ago, and said
mm-hmm,
he was the unfaithful one, and he's trying just something similar to that.
mm-hmm,
And they had to disable the comments because the comment section was, it was, oh my god, it was something else, right? And a lot of people were on there, and they were really really bashing him. And I felt like, how do you react to that? How do you, like, I've seen believers fall, I've seen pastors commit adultery, I've seen so many things like that, and I feel like, how do we I don't know the question. How do we address things like that in Christendom? Like in the family, we say we are family of God, right? So how do we address these things? How are we able to say, oh, this believer has fallen into sin? And because the believer falling into sin is not like you didn't lie yesterday, or you didn't backbite, or you didn't slander. You understand? It's
mm-hmm.
just that we have some people have small sin and big sin, which is sin. Like, let's just cut the chase. But like in my head, I'm like, how should we address these things when leaders in faith or pastors or music ministers that are in the faith fall? How do we address it without putting the person down? I think that's what was on my head. So I felt like probably like a minister or two ministers, three ministers will like come talk to us about it, because I still haven't seen a place where us as a Christian community come around to rally around and talk with this person. I feel like most times we're first to bash the person, and it's a lot.
To be honest, I think the it's because of the amount of reverence that, no, I won't say reverence, the amount of the way we believe in our pastors, or the expectations that we sort of hold them up to all the time, and I say this because it's because we forget to see that they are man first,
Okay.
right? That they're man, and you know this that they have the same struggles, they have the same whatever going on with them, right? And the reason why I'm saying this is this whole Paula White situation. Yesterday, I was talking to somebody and I was laughing about it because I was just like, how can she, like, what kind of prayer is that? Like, and I was also actually sharing my friend, and she just reminded me of the prayer I was praying while I was angry for
The
NSAS.
endless
Like,
movement.
I was so angry, and the way I was praying about it, and she was like, that because you were praying from a place of anger, I mean, it wasn't scriptural, it wasn't biblical, so you really were just exercising your mouth, right? And that was probably what was happening with her. And so the reason why people feel like, how can you be so selfish? How can you be? Is because they forget that, okay, you're at this point, you should know better. I mean, if you know where angels come from, what they are assigned to do, the ministry of angels, like, I mean, it should make sense to you, right?
Mhm.
So, that being said, is to say, all of that being said, is to say that it's because a lot of times we, it's easy to look at somebody else and pick out the fault in what they're doing, you know, fault them for the things that they're doing or the things that they're not doing and whatnot. And it's different when it is you, right? Or it's
Yeah.
somebody that you know. So yeah, I think that a lot of times that we hold it's by the grace of God that we've been able to live by grace. Really, it's really by the grace of God, and that does not mean that we should continue to say so that grace may abound, but
Mhm.
just even understanding that, hey, the fact that his own sin was that he slept with a woman. Do you know the Are you telling me that the pastors around you, the people around you, are not struggling with other things that you are not
Yeah.
considering big sin, but they are still sin? Are
But
you telling
because
me that?
it came out in public.
Yeah, because it's not out in public, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so I think that usually that's like the
So
case is that.
how should we and when a pastor falls or when a brother falls or when a fellow Christian falls, how are we meant to deal with it? Like mentally, like look at when Israel came out publicly and said, um, I was the one that stepped out in my marriage, this, and everybody, people deleted his songs, people stopped listening to him, churches stopped calling him, and a whole lot happened afterwards, right? And I know that he lost a lot of friends, and I think he talked about how he went to depression toward around that period because he felt like the
Mhm,
whole world came on him, right? And I'm
mhm,
like, how? I think it's just a question that I've been battling with since that period. I remember that Bishop Francis Wale Oki also came out years ago and also said, oh, how he stepped out on his marriage. And a couple of pastors have come out and said they stepped out on their marriage. And we just kind of just crumble them, throw them into the bin and feel like that's all. Like God can never use this person, or this person is so terrible for doing this. Now I understand the man factor and the emotions factor, but as the brethren or as the brother or sister in Christ, how am I meant to help this person in my own little way when a brother or sister of mine comes to tell me that, oh, I fell or I did this thing that's wrong? How should I help them?
I think using the example that you used,
Yeah.
there are consequences to certain actions, right? So when David sinned against God by killing Uriah, and then for because of his lust,
Yeah.
he didn't he wasn't he still had a price to pay. He went through those things, and that was part of the consequences,
Yeah.
right? So it's not unusual. I think it would be unfair to I think it would be unfair, especially once like you have like a certain walk with God, to be let off the hook
Mm.
completely. Now it's a different case when you just give your life to Christ, and all things become all things become new. What's that Bible verse? All things have become new, right?
Yeah.
But now you're in Christ. There are expectations.
Mm.
So I think that yes, there are certain things that have to be put in place to just make sure that that person doesn't go back to what it was that they were doing.
Mm.
Um, But at the same time, it doesn't mean that you abandon them, or it
Mm,
doesn't mean that you leave them. It doesn't mean that you shame them. It has to be from a place of love. And I think that that's what is missing in the world right now. I was
sure.
reading something that Tommy Favor wrote, and I was like so blessed by it, of how like the world is really bleeding. Like all this noise is even distracting us from the amount of souls, the amount of people that are dying on a daily basis. And she said to check the count of the number of people that are dying, and to like that just even caught me off guard, because it was kind of like, oh wow, so if we treat everything that is from a place of love, that okay, yes, so you stole church money, of course
Mm,
we're not going to put you in a place where you can do that, but we're not going to also um shame you or make that, do you get,
yeah.
continue to just hold that over your head. So I think that, yeah, I mean, if you're a public figure, of course, it gets amplified, because
Yeah.
you are in the eyes of everyone, and man is naturally, I feel like our Adamic nature is, yeah, our Adamic nature is created to judge. Like we have that inherent thing to just look at the other person and just feel like, okay, I'm better than you, or you shouldn't have done that. And that's why the Bible says judge not, because he knows that like it's easy to do. It's easy to see the log in somebody, I mean, see the speck in somebody's eyes. Meanwhile, there's log in your own eye.
Yeah.
So I think um there's that I think we should be live now on Instagram. Let me check. But yeah, there's that.
I think it's not even better than you. I think there's that you were supposed to do better kind of look,
Mhm.
right? And when you don't do better, they just feel like what whatever. So I think it's something that as a church, and I'm just throwing this out to even church leaders out there, it's something that you should discuss and talk about in your church, and talk about how this affects your church members, right? And how you can do better and help them better in all these things. And I think it's going to be efficient for each and every one of us.
I think I'm
So
going to
to
just come
today's
live on
conversation,
your.
what do you say?
I think I'm just going to come live on your thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just put it sideways because I didn't know how how we're gonna do it.
Okay.
The OBS thing. Yeah. So today we're talking about culture shock, and it is the feeling of disorientation experienced by someone who is suddenly subjected to an unfamiliar culture, way of life, or set of attitudes. So the reason why funny enough, when Dami and I were just talking about like what we're talking about today. Okay, hopefully we don't have an echo. Um, I believe. So do you want to turn it? Okay, I'm getting an echo.
Okay. Okay. Remember.
So today we're talk. Oh, okay. I think I should keep quiet.
So just give me a minute.
I'm trying so that. Okay, so when Dami is ready, I'll just put her back on just because I don't want to have the echo, but I still want us to have a conversation. So the question today is what's that thing that culturally has shocked you? So Dami is gonna send me an invite again so that I'll quickly put her on Instagram. So let me give you my first one. So I remember the first year I got to Canada, right? And so what they call trousers in Nigeria or jeans trousers, that will call it jeans trousers or whatnot. They call it pants here in Canada. So I went into a store. I think it was I can't remember which exact store, but it was 2011, fresh into Canada, and I'm like, oh,
Trousers or what
right.
was they call it pants here in Canada.
I can hear you.
I went into a
I
store.
can hear
It
myself.
was I can't remember which exact store, but it was 2011, fresh into Canada, and I'm like, oh, right. They call it pants.
Okay, so I get to this store and I said I want to get a trouser. I think I said size 10 or size 8. And the lady said, what is trouser? I said, trouser, like what I'm wearing. She's like, oh, you want to buy pants? I'm like, no, I know pants. I'm like, I know pants, right? I said, I know what I'm asking for. Pants is what I'm wearing inside. I know the lady will probably be looking at me and be like, oh my God, who is this lady, right? I'm like, I know pants. I mean, I want to buy trouser that I will wear like this. Then, damn, if you can tilt your phone sideways so that everybody can watch your screen. Yeah. So I'm like, I know pants. I mean trouser. But because my brother had, and I think it was 2012. Yeah, I think it was 2012. So because my brother had stayed longer than I have, between 2011 and 2012 when I came back, he was like, oh, yeah, she means pants. Like, I was not tapping him like, why would you say pants? It's not pants now. He's like, no, they call trousers here pants. I'm like, oh my God, I'm disgracing myself. Then I leave that store and I go into this other store. I think it was Urban Planet or Ardine, one of the two. And I enter. So then it was that year in Nigeria where they changed the naira, one of the naira notes. And then if you had a ton naira notes, they won't accept it in whatever store you go to Nigeria. So I got into Ardine. I got everything I wanted to buy. I gave them cash and they gave me my change. And they gave me this, I think it was $5 or $10, and he had turned a bit. And I'm like, sorry, I can't collect it. The lady was like, what do I mean by I can't collect it? I'm like, no, we don't collect all money in my country. I was like, I was in total shock. And the lady, like, I was in shock. She was in shock. We're not looking at each other. So my brother collected it and he's like, no, I know, like, you can take this to the bank. I'm used to buy anything anywhere. Like, I'm like, God, why didn't they tell us this thing?
So then my own culture shock. My own culture shock was a bit different. I before I was saved. I used to go to the club. Am I echoing?
No.
Okay. So before I was saved, I used to go to the club and everything. So that's how one day we went for this club party and everything, a club event. And I went to the bathroom. At this point I just came from Nigeria. So, and you know how going to an all girls school or going to boarding house, you walk around the dormitory half naked, all that, nobody really sends. So, anyways, I went to the bathroom to adjust what I was wearing because I was wearing like an office shirt and a skirt. And so I raised up my skirt and everything. I was wearing, of course, my underwear and whatnot. And so this lady walks up to me and she's like, you have such a beautiful shape. Oh, thank you. Your shape is so beautiful. Oh, in my mind,
In your side,
nothing, but because it was just better. She was like, your shape is really beautiful. You have really nice hips. And she kept saying to one way, but it didn't occur to me. So she said, can she have my number? I just came to Canada. I need a new friend. Why not? Of course.
Holy Ghost fire.
People of God. The
Hallelujah.
messages that she was sending me, no guy has ever sent me that kind of message before. I will see messages like this. Apparently she was bi, and so after that,
oh my God.
I learned that in the bathroom, you're only safe in the store. Like you,
Oh my
you
god.
can't. And I was so ignorant. It was. Oh my god! Like,
So guys, yeah. So if you're joining us, you can just run along and come on the YouTube channel. We can always display comments and you can share your stories with us. You can even join us and share your story, your culture shock story right now. Because for so many people they feel like they've had one issue or the other. I think the one other thing I also said that was a cultural shock for me was when I was in Nigeria, once you have a conversation with someone, you just feel like it's done, it's sorted, right? But here in Canada, you have to have your paper trail, like either email or text message or whatnot. So I had this conversation with someone at work then, and the person was like, okay, no problem. And we're done. And we get to the head office, and the person's like, no, we never had this conversation. What do you mean? I wanted like for me it was shocking to me because I just felt like coming from Nigeria, you get like coming from Nigeria, you just say, sir, are we good to go? We are good to go. And I'm not talking about like contract. So don't get me wrong. I
mhm.
know when it's like a contractual transaction, but when it's just like normal office talk, like, oh, help me do this. No, no problem. I'll help you do it. And that's the end. And you get to the head office and they're like, no, you never had a conversation like that. So for me, it was a shock as a cultural shock for me. And since that day, like since that experience, I think it's 2014 or 2015, I told myself, if I'm going having conversation with you, I'm gonna have a text message conversation. So I text you, you text me back, I text you back, you text me back. I went to the okay, I was scream on sheets. Like I became that thorough, right? Because I just knew and I wanted to tell myself that I've experienced this firsthand from someone that, or from some people that have done this, and it will not repeat itself. So I feel like there are times where those things just kind of wake you up to understand the kind of environment you are, and it's also important for you to I think it's good to learn the culture of the environment you are, and at the same time, it's good to also bring in your own culture, right? It's equally important to bring in your culture. I just want to check if we have any comments. Okay, so someone just
So
sending us love. Thank you very much.
so what are other okay, culture shock in the workplace. So I was working. I worked in a credit union in Saskatchewan,
Yeah.
and um, my dad worked in a bank. My dad was like my idea of banking came from my dad. My dad was a banker. You know, rose up to the level. So there are certain things I expected to see. So um, I started working in the bank. Of course, I was killing it, killing my goals because you would have like targets and all. And so that's how that's how they give us I would stay back and work till like 6 o'clock. We close at 5. We'd close at 5, but just to show that, and so I'm putting in extra time to make sure that I'm killing my targets. And my manager actually called me and said, okay, why is it that I'm always staying back to work? That is there anything they can do to help me? In my mind, I felt like I should be getting a bonus. This should be like, damn me, the most hardworking, you know. And they're
Who
like, they're
sends you
being
job
concerned that I'm not able to get work done, all my work done in
within the hour that you're
the
meant
hour,
to?
you know.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm like, we are in May. I've already passed 70% of my targets. Like, this is just me trying to, overdo, like,
Yourself. Yeah.
and that wasn't it. Like, she actually sat me down and said, no, that this is actually problematic because it means that I'm not able to finish. So I was like, oh, okay. Because I have colleagues that once it's just
359.
4:40, 4:50 like this, they are closing
Yeah.
their closing shop.
So is it a bad thing as a business person? Do you feel like you know how we have this thing in Nigeria where oh your shop closes 7 o'clock, but you see that your Nigerian sister, Nigerian brother trying to rush down in, but most times you get to the mall 7:02. The doors are locked because they feel like that is the time like it's over, right?
Mhm.
Do you think that that's something that we should start doing, like incorporating African businesses here in Canada, where if you tell me 9 to 5, if I get there 8:59, you should be open. If I get there 5:01, you should be closed. Do you think it can work?
I think that, that's something that you rightly pointed out, because you said to arrive at 9 um
8:59.
4:59, assuming you close at 5.
Yeah.
See, as far as you are in that door before that time,
Yeah.
you are going to get the service or the product that you're seeking for.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Okay.
In Nigeria, especially with civil service, or in
Even if we get there
Africa,
2 o'clock,
2
auntie, I'm on
o'clock,
break. Oh.
they are done. Because the civil servant has the shop somewhere that she has to go and attend to. So, and that's part of customer service,
Yeah.
right? But you also have to be respectful of the policies, right? So, because I mean, there have been times
No,
that.
but I mean the Nigerian business here in Canada. Like,
Mhm.
if you go to an African store, like I know certain African stores that never open early, so I won't bother myself, right? And there's some that if you're there, let's say they open 9 and you get there 8:55, they're open already. You understand? It's just they're trying to clean up to make sure that things are getting sorted before 9 o'clock, right? And by the time it's 8:59, their shops are already open. But do you think that that system will work for African businesses in Canada, where they do 9 to 5, 8:59 they're open, and 5 o'clock they're closed? Like, do you think that kind of system can work?
Why not? Like, I don't like, see, the
No,
problem
no, no.
that I
What,
have with
what,
all of
why I said, do you think that system can work? And that was why I gave that example for at first, where, hello, Dami, this is your shop. Hello, Dami. Oh, I'm on my way. I'm just caught up in traffic. Please, I want to buy something. This, that. And you call me, I call you, and you leave the shop open a bit just because you want me to come in. You understand? All those leeways that we give ourselves because we are Africans. Do you think that that will allow us to do the 9 to 5, or do you think that it works? That's where I mean, not in the sense of we can't do things like that.
Yeah,
Not
like, and I got the question. Like, the thing about it is that we need to start looking at ourselves as a global business,
mm,
not African business, because I think that that's what's killing us,
mm,
because we think that we're creating products and services just for us and not thinking about it in the global perspective. That is why you are focused on, waiting to attend to mommy towing and not treating everybody the same. Do you get what I mean? So I think we need to get rid of that mindset that it's an African business. An African store is a grocery store. When we're looking at African stores, we should be looking at the fact that it is a grocery store, or you can say it's a convenience store, to even the houses or the places or the companies, whatever, around you. They should be able to come in and pick up rice. They should be able to come in and pick up oil. So it's we should stop thinking about it as, yes, it's an African store, but first it's a grocery store because it supplies food and everybody eats. So I think
yeah,
that when we start going and expanding beyond African, this is an African business, this is an African, and then you start treating certain things certain ways, then that's why I feel like there's usually a problem.
mm,
Do you get what I mean? So
yeah,
as far as we treat it as global, especially for us that are in the West, the African store is a grocery store.
mm,
Any race should be able to walk into your store and purchase rice, purchase oil, sugar, and then see, oh, what's this interesting thing? You tell
yeah,
them about
yeah,
Gary. Do you understand what I mean? It's a
yeah,
grocery store. The same way there's a convenience store close by. It's Indian. If I don't have egg in my house, I'll run to that place and buy egg.
mm,
It's a grocery store. So I think that part of the problem is the mindset that you are creating business to just African people, because at the end of the day, I work in this industry. I will tell you that the total number of people that identify as Africans in the whole of Canada is about 3 point something percent. And then are you now talking about in Regina? How many can we possibly be? So if you limit yourself to that market, then there's only so much you can do. So that's why I think that, of course, we should start having those general standards. Like, we should stop this because it's an African store, we act like this. Because, I mean, there are certain things that are unique to the store being African. I'm not too familiar with other ethnic stores. I don't know. And what I mean by that is I don't know if they close shop, 5 minutes to, or they have preference for their customers. But a lot of the Asian stores that I go to, 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock, they're closing. 10 a.m. they say they're opening. They're opening. So why must I own be different?
Mm.
Do you get?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true because something happened to me a couple of days ago where I went to one of our grocery stores, right? And because the person was to have a baby and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, please let me quickly attend to her because she has a baby." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no." Like I met these people in the store and I understand the concern, but I met them in the store. You understand? I feel like you should give preference to that person that was there before me, you understand, rather than you trying to cut it. And she's like, "Oh, okay, no problem." So I told the person that, "Oh, I'll come back, don't worry. I still have other errands I have to run, but I'll come back and get what I need to get." And when I came back and I explained to her that no, when you have other customers or when you have other clients, you have to attend to each person as par. You understand? Except if I go and meet those people and say, "Please, please." Like if it's like you trying to want to pee and or your gas is almost empty and you're somewhere and you see a very long line, you just beg everybody, "Please, this is just a quick emergency." You understand? But if it's not an emergency, if it's not something that the whole world will blow up, you understand? So I had to explain that it doesn't matter, right? Because you know one person over one person. Just treat each person as per if I entered the bank and they're like, "Oh, how may we help you?" You understand? And not
Mhm.
necessarily, "Oh, my sister, come and sit down here. Oh, you stand up." Like I think like you said, that customer service should be treated across board equally without it being that I am Nigerian or I'm Yoruba with you, I'm Igbo with you, or I'm Hausa with you, that kind of thing.
But there are some services that actually give that, right? So if you go to the bus, for example, people will actually stand up for you.
No, but that's
So I think in
different.
general, the
But that's
society
different though.
recognizes that.
But that's different though. It's just like when I go to IKEA, there are parking
Mhm,
stores for me. Like when I was pregnant, there was a store for expecting mothers, right? And when
mhm,
I gave birth, there is for parents with children. You understand?
mhm,
So they kind of give you that leeway, or they give you that before time. Everybody already knows that, oh, if you are this or if you are handicapped, you understand? Just like how you have the handicap parking slots, you understand?
mhm.
But this is different where that is already a systemic thing, you understand, in the country. It's different from where preferential treatment is given, you understand? Some people won't go to an African store because they feel like they won't even answer you when you just enter. Like I entered one, oh my God. So let me give you one. I got into an African store recently, and this is they were sitting in front desk. They opened their food, sitting, watching Nigerian movie. They backed the door. They were just doing whatever. So I'm like, "Oh, please, where can I find this?" "Oh, yes, it's there." And she just pointed at it. And I still kept looking everywhere for it. And I'm like, "Oh, where exactly you say it is?" And I was the one that kept looking for it. You understand? So I feel like there are days where we just treat ourselves certain way because of, you understand, and not because we have that great concern or great how do we put it, that good
Yep.
customer service, you understand, for
Mhm,
each person, that respect that, oh, this person is a human being, I should treat this person well. It doesn't matter
I
whether
but
you're older or I'm younger, you understand. But some people are not just like that. So I think that was one of the things that just kind of was a cultural shock for me, where everybody's kind of treated like, well, you understand, when you go into a store, oh, what do you want? Oh, are you satisfied? Oh, thank you very much for coming. And I think I really learned customer service here in Canada. And that was one of the things I loved about it. Well, the ones that were really nice, like that this person's actually are interested in what I want. You understand?
but you know
They're
what?
not, yeah.
I find that sometimes I find that irritating, like the overuse of customer service. And maybe you can say that as another part of another culture
Sure.
shock experience.
Okay.
Um, I sometimes I will enter stores and they're like the attendant will come to me like 10 times. Are you okay? Is everything okay? Is everything okay? Is every like
Did they have
auntie?
do they have other clients in the store?
I don't even know. Like this has
Right,
happened
that's
so
the
many
thing.
times.
That's the thing. If you're the only one, let's say there are two. Okay, like in this pandemic, let me give you an example. So I and my friend Zainab, we went to a restaurant. We were eating. The lady came probably 7 to 8 times. Oh, is everything? I find everything okay. Oh, are you okay? And Zainab is like, she's already like, oh my god, kill what? What happened? I'm like, Zainab, what do you expect from her? This is what time? When are they closing? They were closing in another 3 hours time, but we're the only ones in in the restaurant. I said, and see, we met just two couples that were here. So you really, she just wants to do a job and get paid, and you give her a good tip. You understand? So for some of them, especially during this pandemic, they just want to leave the best first impression for you so that you come back to their store. If they had so many people, they probably will not come to you 10 times. But if there are so many, if you're just two in the store, they will come to you 10 times because they want you to
No,
enjoy
this is
the
not. This
experience.
is not pre-pandemic. Like I just don't get because at sometimes I feel like am I being what at the back of your mind that crosses your
Oh,
mind.
there is that one though.
No, there's that one,
Yeah.
yes, that you're being watched. But like, okay, already you asked me 10 minutes ago if I was finding everything okay. I said yes, everything is fine. You come back to me. Are you finding everything? Are you finding everything okay? I'm like, what's this?
Something might have changed, my sister.
And so me, I have a problem with that. Another thing that I sort of that was a bit of a culture shock to me was the culture of tipping. Guys,
Oh my
tipping, oh, tipping. Like sometimes because I think that, and maybe it's because I don't work in the food industry. I have friends in the food industry that take it personal when I talk about it because I guess they have like they're speaking from experience. But let me tip what I can afford to tip you. Don't forcefully ask me for 20% or 15%. How do you know that this is not my last meal? Like, and I don't understand. And like, I seriously don't understand it. Maybe we should have someone from the service from um the food industry explain why tips
So
are
the
so
thing is that my husband actually just noticed that I started tipping well. And he's like, wait, I know you actually tipped something. And to me, this is my own, and I think this double standard. This is my own level, and this is my own cultural embracing of tipping. And let me share it. Mine is, if you serve well, if you attended to me well, if you if the service rendered was really good, I will actually give you a good tip. Do you understand? I personally would, because I feel like you did, bless you, darling, because I believe you did a good job. Now, the ones that are forced on you, I feel like it's not fair on the person, especially if the service was bad. You understand? If the service was bad and after all that, whatever, and I complained, you now tell me I still have to give the person 15%. I feel it's not fair, right? So for those that are in the food industry, please you can come to the comment section and give us what you feel like we need to do better or how we need to be educated about tipping. But I feel like if the person served you well and you can afford it, you should tip the person. And if you can't afford it, just tell the person, "Oh, thank you very much. You did a great job. I'll come another time." And you that you're not being tipped, don't look down at the person like after all the things I said, you didn't give me money. Like I feel like there shouldn't be double standard. If you don't treat me well, if you don't treat me right, I won't give you 1 cent.
It's such a big deal because like I actually don't get it. And again, maybe it's because I've never worked in the food industry. I was in food industry, that my first job, but it wasn't like as in the fast food industry or food that requires. I worked in in the kitchen somewhere, sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I never really got it because if you're offering a service and you're being paid for it, where are we tipping? Okay, yes, you. I mean, I have a friend in the food industry, and I can
If you
just
did
hear
an
her scream
exceptional,
right now.
no, but damn it, if you did an exception, there's some people that they serve you really well. To be very
What
sincere
is
with
okay?
you.
What constitutes as serving really
Okay,
well?
so you go out of your way to make sure that I get the good deals on the menu. You kind of, if I'm like, okay, what do you feel is really good on the menu? Like apart from you being like very nice, being very courteous. That's how I feel, right? If I feel that way with you, right? If I feel like, oh, you actually went out of your way to do something to make my experience better, I will give you a tip. But if you did nothing, like you just expect it for expectation's sake, hell no. I won't give you 1 cent. That's
Anyway,
just me.
because to be honest, I feel like that is the job, right?
The
If
job
I
is to give you the service, but if I give you exceptional service,
No,
and
the
that's why I said
job is
it's
to
not
give
compulsory
exceptional
though.
service, like
No,
any
but
job.
damn it, it's not compulsory to tip anybody.
But have you seen like
I put zero. I still put zero tonight.
have you have you s- have you
Because
seen?
funny enough, there was a day that for all these deliveries, I put leave at the door, but please press the doorbell. I put it there so that once you press the doorbell, I'll know that my food is outside. And this person did not press the doorbell.
Mhm.
Now, this is me. You didn't even go above and beyond. You didn't even try.
You didn't do what we asked you to do.
You understand the basic? You didn't even do it. So sorry, the person just bad market every other person. Because for me, I just felt like since they said just leave it at the door, and tonight the last person that delivered just put it outside and left. So I had to be looking, trying to like, and I saw, oh, this person so delivered, and I'm like, but it's not fair. Like it's not fair on the person. Like, what if you were busy with something, your phone was not with you, right? And they
Mhm.
told you it's going to be there in 45 minutes, and the person came probably 30 minutes before you get. So I feel like they're what they call it. There are different levels to it, but
This is
for me,
by photo.
you won't get money from me if you didn't make me feel extra special. That's just my own.
I think she has a lot of comments in the
Okay, so
our
let me
our
put.
residence food expert.
Okay, so she completely agrees with me. I hope it's me you're agreeing with. She said, this is touchy for me because the cooks and dishwashers don't get the tips, just the servers. God bless you, Shay. And the dishwashers are the most hardworking. I tip when I know that it's going to be shared with the entire kitchen, back of the house included. In some Asian restaurants, they shame you if you don't tip. Well, that's their shame. They should carry their shame and go away. I don't care about their shame. I just feel like it's not fair. Like it's not fair. And Shay is very truthful. Like
But
there are
how
some
do you
places
know that
where
they are going to share it? This is not public information. This is not public knowledge.
no, so if it is a house, like the one that they mandate it is when you okay. So I've gone to a restaurant where they said if we are more than 10, we have it was mandatory that we tip, and that tip was the house tip. So they were gonna give everybody, like the server, the this, the that, the this, the that. If they did not give them, that's thunder the fire. They'll fire whoever didn't tip the person. But you can't shame me for not putting down my money. I feel like you're just being rude. You cannot shame me.
Because there have been some times that I went to the restaurant and that was like the last. In fact, I barely. You know how you're just praying that your card did not decline. Your card did not say it's sufficient funds so that you join them at the back and watch, please. And so
Oh, let me give you one story time about that. So my cousin, this is years ago. They went to this particular restaurant, not here in Canada, but it was in Nigeria. And they went to this particular restaurant with this guy. She went on a date. And my cousin said she told this her friend that take your wallet. Take your wallet. Like she just had this feeling about it. And she was like, "Ah, there's no need. What is it? The guy's gonna pay. Da, 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 da." But there's some guys that there's just something wrong with them. They believe in fraud. And according to her, um she said that this guy did not pay and he snuck off and ran away. So it was time to and she had already ordered extra like pack and all that, and it was time to pay, and this guy was nowhere to be found. So they gave her two options to either clean the restaurant. Like, he didn't want to embarrass her because she had to call them to the corner and say, "Oh, she didn't bring her wallet. She's so sorry. This was better that put her on a date." And this, that. So the guy he had run away, so there was no even point. So she had to call my cousin. So that I think that was how my cousin knew. So she had to call my cousin, and my cousin now went there, paid for it, and she was like, "I warned you." And I feel like your money is your money, right? If you go somewhere you can't afford a tip and they tell you, "Oh, tips are mandatory," let them know from the start. "Thank you, bye. You can give me back my jacket. I'll go somewhere else." Or before you leave the house, research on the place you're going to, or give them a phone call. "Hello, aloha. Do you guys make tip compulsory? Because this is my last. Like, shingbai will not come out of my hand. So let's just respect ourselves and respect our family members." So I feel like when it comes to tipping, for those that don't understand what we're talking about culture shock, and one of the culture shock that has shocked Dami and
the culture of tipping.
you electrocuting Dami is tipping,
Barely,
right?
I still don't get it.
Dami still doesn't get it, but I just feel like it's not compulsory. If you do exceptionally well, tell them to tip you, right, Mama?
And don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't tip people. Like I do tip, but I just don't like when it feels like I have a gun to my head. Like 20%.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that 20% only comes up well for in Edmonton. Most of the 15-20% only comes up when you go in a group. I know that for some places now they put it there, but you have the option to put 0.00, and I like putting it when you do a trashy job. I just put 0.00, and that's all good. So yeah, I think tipping is in Nigeria, we don't call it tip, we just call it word on bros. Do you understand? It's word on bros money. Do you get my point? Like you're living wherever you are. Damn, your audio is not coming out. No, your audio is not coming out. So it's just word on bros. Like when you finish eating at a joint and you're coming out, everybody's like, bros. Okay. So someone says, for me, Colossians 3:23-24 always comes to mind as whatever I do to whoever's serving me, I take it as I'm doing it unto God. Good service or bad service, I believe always tipping. Well, I like that angle. I haven't gotten to that spiritual state. Let me be sincere with you. I haven't got to that spiritual state. Even in Nigeria, as a little girl, I grew up seeing both parents tip everyone and everywhere. So it's ingrained in me already. Yeah, dude. I get your point, but for me, I just feel like I have not gotten to that place in my spiritual walk to be very sincere with God. Or in Europe they don't tip. I haven't gotten there, right? I know that when I was younger, they would give people this, that, but I have not got to that place where you're
Can you
using
hear me?
collation. Yes. So I haven't gotten to that spiritual state where I'm using the scripture to back my tipping. I just do it because I feel like you've done a good job. I will give you this extra. Me not giving you doesn't mean that I'm not giving to God, because out of the money that I've used to eat the food that they're going to give you your salary either way. But my point is just that the flip side of it is when you are going to give, just if it's something that you can afford, do it. If you cannot afford it, just leave it. Like, let's be truthful.
Yeah,
In fact, if
but
you can't afford it, another comment is okay. I think it's the same person that just said that. So I just feel like let's just do the needful, right? Let's do the needful when it comes to like one another. And if like Dami said, if that's her last card, it's not like she's being bad for not giving.
I
But
think that I think that's the thing, because to
yeah,
be honest, like as I said, maybe it's because I know a couple of people that work in that industry, and they've explained it to me of why it's important. So I generally always tip,
yeah,
right? But there are times that myself I don't like, I'm struggling to, this was just one of those things that had to come up. I mean, a lot of things have changed, because those times that somebody would just invite you for a birthday or a dinner, and you have to be there and you are looking at the menu. It must not pass 16.99, because if you enter $18, is
and
you
you
know
asked your overdrafts,
you, as
please.
so
Colossians will enter into.
yeah, and so
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So another comment. To be honest, though, some piss me off when they don't serve well. So sis, I feel you. Sis, that's the thing for me. I
Yeah.
can't lie to you.
You know what? Now that we're still on this matter, let me give my last culture shock.
Yeah.
My last culture shock is the fact that somebody will invite you for a birthday, and then you will pay for the food you will eat. The first time it happened to me, I felt insulted. I was, and the
Mama,
person did
you
not even give
carry
us
auntie.
the person not even give us orientation. The person just tell us that, okay, oh, I'm inviting you for my birthday. You are going to be paying for yourselves, and possibly even paying my own as the celebrant.
Yeah.
Like, we just got there. Of course, open menu, picked what we got, and it was time to go home. Ha. They
This is
said that
super
this is
story.
your bill. I was like, where is that done? How can someone? I sat down in my own house. I did not say that you're the one that invited me. So I remember that particular year, somebody had their birthday.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I had my birthday and I paid for everybody. Don't worry, very, very. That's another just for another day. You should have said when it was hailing me, hey, big girl, Damo,
And you had no clue.
I had no clue. In my mind, I still had that Nigerian mindset that
Oh my God.
I invited you to celebrate with me, so it's my job to provide food for you.
It's a normal Nigerian thing, right? You go for party, they give you food.
Mhm.
Mine was double. So let me show you two places that threw me off. The first part was we had a get together. And you know, in Nigeria, when you have get together, especially when it's like a Christian, like young adults to all come together, and we finish eating, and people just left their plates on the table and they went home. In someone's house. I was mortified. I'm like, who did they expect I would clean up? Like, this is bad. This is so bad. And they were like, I know, let's just clean up. I'm like, yes, I'll clean up, but this is so bad. This is dirty. And I kept ranting and ranting and ranting. So that was the first shock on that other side to that when someone invites you. But the other side was this you just said, and I went for a birthday, and funny enough, it was a culture shock. But the reason why it didn't shock me that much because shout out to my husband, he always gives me heads up to some things. So you already said, oh, that normally if you go out for someone's birthday, you owed your money. So when he already told me that, I held my money. I didn't take more than what I knew. I even went, it was a buffet. So we don't disgrace ourselves, you get. So it was good for me, but I didn't understand it until I had my birthday. And I kind of put it out there that, oh, everybody will take care of themselves because I knew that that was what they were doing here. So if it's the culture, let's join in the culture. But if I invite you to my house, I I would not expect that you should
But you
pay.
know what? And I should say this because I've also gone for birthdays, and I want to say this right now in public. I've also gone for birthdays that I did not have. I knew what I was going to spend. $25. I will buy this. I've rationed my dinner. I've rationed my dinner. And when we're now done eating, time to pay, somebody will now say, I'm paying for everybody. If you had started off with that, if you had started off with that,
Oh, blow.
like, if you had started off with that, I mean, that's something you should lead
You-
first with.
yeah.
So, yeah, so I would just say that,
Yeah,
please,
so what I was saying, like for me, I feel like when you have friends that just come into the country, I know one of my friends here. I don't know if he's still like Peter. It happened to him and his friend before, and they got there and they just told them after they finished eating that they were gonna pay. For Before the end of that story, Peter, if you're still here, please just go and gist us. What happened at the end of that story? But I felt bad about it. So I feel like it is our duty, right? That when you have friends that just come into the country, you should be able to tell them that these are the things you should watch out for. Ah, they call you for party. Which kind of party? Ah, it's birthday. Ah, you're going to restaurant. Guy, hold your money. You get you get that kind of thing. So that it kind of is balanced, you understand? And same for if I feel like even as friends, if you go to someone's house and you everybody eats and stuff like that, and you're there at the end, you should try to lend a helping hand, right? Oh, how should I help you clean up? Or should I help you this? Or should I help you that? I think for me, I feel like you should. If you don't want to, it's your. I just feel like I think it's part of me where growing up with church with stuff
I
like
get
that.
it.
Yeah,
I get it. And you're right.
yeah,
But I've also realized that it's usually the same people
yeah,
that are doing the cleanup all the time.
yeah, yeah.
So because that was I used to do that a lot. I still do it, but there are some specific people that because
Yeah,
if you invite them to something, they will eat and leave plate spoon for you. Same thing too. They invite me to something, I eat, I leave my plate, my spoon. Like because I find that some people tend to abuse that. So you have to be careful with how much you do you get.
yeah.
Anyways, guys,
Guys,
hope
guys.
you've enjoyed our stories today. I said today's.
Oh,
Thank you for tuning in.
shock.
Just a few announcements. Um, for people in SK, I'm so sorry that you didn't get the heads up. We don't change our time, so I always forget. Now we'll be coming live 9 p.m. CST, so Saskatchewan time, which is the same
Yeah.
time as Manitoba now. So yeah, so start at 9 p.m. for Alberta, and Toronto is still the same. Please make sure you're subscribed to all our channels.
Yep.
We really, really appreciate you guys. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for tuning in. We're still working with our tech issues. We
Yeah,
should
for
get
our
it all
Instagram.
fixed. We should get it all fixed soon. But thank you for staying tuned. And make sure you share with your friends. We'll see you next week Friday. Anything from you, sis?
So guys, just like Dami said, and please, if you have other cultural shocks that has shocked you over the year, just send us a DM or send put in the comment section in any of the flyers and let's know. And if you also want to get anything promoted, you should just send us a DM. It's Friday Night Gist at gmail.com. Friday Night Gist, all in one word, at gmail.com. Let's know what you do. And now we can support you. Now you can support us. So yes, we are moving to a new week, and hopefully this weekend is peaceful for you. Please take time to rest, take time to stay safe. I know across almost all the provinces now masks are mandatory, so please don't forget to always have extra masks in your car, in your bag. Some of us always forget, but please make sure that you have an extra mask so that you're keeping safe. No parties. If you're going to go anywhere, please make sure
They
you
gave somebody $2,800 ticket to in Regina. Open
really.
your eye. Yeah.
Oh my
The
god.
person that said a GoFundMe page. 2,800. So please.
Oh my, there's a bylaw now in Edmonton. The mandatory mask wearing is till May 2021.
Oh wow. I think we something like that just got passed today. Actually, yes. It got passed today in Saskatchewan, specifically in Regina, Saskatoon, and and PA. So it's compulsory to wear your mask in public places. In private houses, you can't be more than 10 in a house.
Yeah.
It dropped, it used to be 15, it dropped to 10. Yeah, and all those fun stuff. You probably have heard or read it, but don't even try doing get together, small get together. I know Nigerians, African people.
Same parties though. Like I still don't know
Yeah,
how they're doing it,
like,
but I'm gonna stay in my house. Hallelujah.
please, so they've given somebody 2,800. The person has said GoFundMe page. Don't be that person.
Don't be that person. That's true. So
Don't be
please,
that.
guys, don't forget to support us. You can follow us through all our social media platforms, subscribe to our YouTube channels, and subscribe to this YouTube channel, Anu and Dami. And we'll see you some other time next week. Till we see you, God be with you. And bye.
Bye.